Hi, my name is Mayana. Welcome to MayaCore. I thought it'd be really fun if I did a March TBR. I do TBRs like every now and then. I don't really like do them often, and I'm a mood reader, so I actually kind of don't really stick with them. But I decided it would be maybe smart if I read all of them like the first few days of the month instead of reading them all like at the end, because usually what I do is I'll be like, oh, I'll get to it, you know, later in the month, and the next thing you know, the month is over. So I decided, how about I start off my month with my TBR and we see how that goes. So let's just get into my TBR. I have a selection of like I think 12 books. I decided to also keep it short because I know I read a lot, but I'm also a mood reader, and like I could discover any random ass genre, or like I could get some random ass hyperfixation in the middle of the month. So I'm just gonna keep it short just in case. So the first book I have is The Sword of Kyen, and I will be buddy reading this with my friend Trey over at Trey Read That and Hannah over at I Loves Book on TikTok. So yeah, we've been wanting to like buddy read books in like 4 days. It was taking us like a minute to decide like what to read, and Hannah has been trying to get me to read The Sword of Kyen for months, and it's not that I don't want to, I really do, but I'm scared. Like people was on there like, oh, I'm crying, like people were on the internet crying over this book. Like, I'm scared, y'all. Like, I like to protect my sanity, but I really do want to get into it. Then I heard it was like a military type of fantasy, and I was like, maybe I do want to jump in. So I am going to be buddy reading this with them. Probably not good to be like buddy reading something that's traumatic, but so then I have Dead Silence. I got an arc of the author's book that's coming out this year, Ghost Station, and I just feel like, I mean, it's a standalone. I just feel like, okay, why not just jump into this one if I'm already going to be reading Ghost Station. I probably read Ghost Station before this one, so I'll probably read this one after. Hopefully I really like Ghost Station. This is very quick. I started this a few years ago, back when I was like in my party girl era, and I ended up like putting it down and I never got back to it. So I hope that I think I put it down just because it wasn't that it was boring. It just was like, wasn't something that I would want to pick up in my party girl era. Like, why was I trying to read a horror sci-fi? Like, what the fuck? I should have been trying to read some fun ass romances or something, you know? So I'm gonna try to get back into this. Hopefully I really like it. I love sci-fi, I love horror, so putting those two together, like, perfect. Then I have Dune Messiah. I've already read this, so this is a reread. I've been wanting to reread Dune, and I tried to reread Dune, and I probably got like 2 chapters in, and it's just so huge I ended up putting it down. So what I decided was, why don't I read Dune Messiah, because it's shorter. And I keep saying like, oh, I love Dune, it's my favorite series, I love it, and I've only read the first 2 books. So I feel like I need to at least read this one so I can move on to the 3rd one, and then I'll feel more comfortable, like, oh yeah, it's my favorite series. And then I only have 3 left to read. I really need to get up my series shit this year, y'all. Yeah, so then I also have Pyre of the Orange Tree, which I spray my edges. So I've had this on my TBR for years. I remember when the arc came out and I wanted the arc so bad, and then the book came out and I glued my pages together, and I was just like, I don't want to read it anymore because I glued my pages together. So it's on my own fault. I do hate that, like, and I also tried to find the audiobook places because like, but the audiobook is exclusively available on Audible, which is so annoying because the second audiobook is available anywhere. Like, I got it on my Libby a few weeks ago. I was gonna read it, but I was like, I just don't feel comfortable reading that first, so I decided I'm gonna read this first. But I'm very excited. It's sapphic. It has a black character who's sapphic. Like, I'm very excited. High fantasy. I'm really in my high fantasy bag this year. So you know, the next book I have is Cell by Stephen King. I don't really know. I think this has to do with like a pandemic or an epidemic or like something of the sort, or like zombies or some shit. Like, I don't know. I know that it's silly. Like, I know that a lot of Stephen King fans don't take this serious, but I just want something. I want to get back into like trying to read Stephen King once a month, once every 2 months, once every 3 months, I don't know, but I want to get back into reading Stephen King because I feel like, I don't know, every time the year goes by I feel like I haven't read enough, even though I've read a lot. But I know a lot of his fans don't really like or care for this book, but I think if I go into this knowing that it's silly and knowing that it's not serious and just taking it as satire, I think that I'll like it a little bit more. But I guess we'll have to see. And it's short. It's one of Stephen King's shorter books, so why the fuck not? And so then next I have The Light of the Jedi, and this is the first book in the Star Wars High Republic series, which I did a Star Wars High Republic reading order video a few days ago. depending on when you're watching this. I don't know. I've already read it. This is the first book in the Star Wars High Republic, and I'm on phase, so there's 3 phases. I just finished phase 2, so I could jump into phase 3, but I decided I want to reread it from the beginning. I don't know why. Well, I know why, because I finally owned the physical book, and I really love listening to the audiobooks. It has a full cast. It's very immersive. Like, they have like spaceship noises and just have like sounds, and I love it. And I just think that it was gonna hit so much better physically reading it along with it, so that's what I'm going to be doing. I think I'm going to start my reread after I finish filming today, or finish filming and editing, and I'm just very excited to like get this reread done. Like, I love this series. It's the reason why I'm a huge Star Wars fan, to be honest. Next I have The City We Became, which oh my gosh, John Scalzi, he blurbed this. John Scalzi he's slowly becoming one of my favorite sci-fi authors. He's so like fucking weird, and his ideas are just so like, what the fuck, but they're so cool. I read both Red Shirts and the Kaiju Preservation Society by him. I fucking love them and highly recommend them. And so the fact that he blurbed this book actually makes me so excited. I know a lot of people like really didn't like this book, and it's kind of like a love letter to New York. It's about the 5 boroughs of New York personified, and like, I just think that if I go into it with low expectations, or at least hoping to like it, that I might like it a lot more than other people did, because I really want to read this, and I really miss reading N.K. Jemisin, and so I'm just excited. I'm very scared. I'm very scared, very excited. Then I also have The Black Sun. My friend Hannah, who I talked about earlier, she read The Black Sun in February, and she really liked it. She gave it like 3.75. And so I've been holding off on this because Monty was like, oh, it's the kind of series that you want to read all in one go. And so originally I was going to, but I know me. You know me, I know me. I don't read series, okay? If I can't read it like as they're coming out, I'm gonna be struggling to get through it. So I don't even know why I pretended for months that I was just gonna read it all in one go. That was not gonna fucking happen. So I decided I'm just gonna jump into it. I'm gonna hope for the best, and the good news is it'll be coming out in a few months. Like, the 3rd book will be coming out in a few months, so I can get the first 2 knocked out the way, because I can read a good little duology. So I'll get the first 2 knocked out the way, and then we can jump into the 3rd book, and hopefully it's all good. And I've also read some Rebecca Roanhorse before, because she writes for Star Wars, and so I really like her writing, and so I think that this will be good. And lastly, I have a series. I'm gonna try to put one. I was gonna put 2 series, but then I was like, girl, if I finish this series, then I'll throw another series in here. But for now, I think I'm just gonna try one series like that I want to complete every month. For now, I might not even keep this next month. I'm sorry. But so that is the first Law trilogy. So I've already read The Blade itself. I gave it 3 stars and I really liked it, but I am so far behind. This is like one huge world, so there's like these 3 books, and then 2 standalones, and then another trilogy, and I've only read 1 book. So I'm very behind, so I really need to catch up. So I think I'm just gonna spend a weekend just trying to knock these books out. I think it'll be so fun just like sitting and reading like a whole series for a weekend. I mean, it usually goes into a week. I don't know why I sit here and be like, yeah, it's gonna be a week. Like, I know I'm a fast reader, but bitch, it's fantasy. I'm not that fucking fast. Like, if this was a romance series, oh yeah, I could knock this shit out in one day. It's a fantasy series. It's gonna take me like a week and a half, but let's pretend, indulge me, okay? Let's pretend it'll take a weekend, okay? Yeah, so I have the first Law trilogy. I'm very excited to really get into this, because like I said, I like the 3rd book. I like the characters in the 3rd book. It's not very plot driven, and I think that's what my issue is, but I heard that the other 2 are plot driven, so I'm just gonna hope for the best and jump into it. But yeah, that is it for this video. Let me know what you are going to be reading this month, what you're excited to be reading. I have some other books that I want to read. I have some romances that I'll probably read on my Kindle, but I really didn't want to add to the list, and usually with romances I just pick up whatever. I do have some other books that I want to read, but I don't own them yet, so probably get read though. Yeah, that's it for this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.